Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at one of the new augments that was added in set 6.5. This one is called Future Sight, and it gives you a Zephyr, and it allows you to see which opponent you're going to be facing next. So more on that in a minute. Spoiler alert for what the first augment is going to be, but we're going to be taking a look at this in the context of this game, which is being played on the initial release version of set 6.5. Now, this particular version, the release version of set 6.5, not a particularly well-balanced version of Teamfight Tactics, and that's not that uncommon. When the very first version of a new set comes out, it's understandable. Everything's maybe not as balanced as it could be. Everything's not working correctly. However, this version has not really been that much fun to play, and I have not been playing that many games of it just because it's pretty poorly balanced. There's really only about 2 or 3 team comps that are viable. Anyway, I saw the Ezreal with the sword on the initial carousel, and I thought that's a pretty good opener that can go in a number of different directions. And then I get an echo drop from the minion round, so that confirms that this is going to be an Innovators opener into an Innovators game. And Innovators is one of the relatively few builds that's kind of viable right now. The gameplay is being very heavily determined by Hextech Sivir and by Bruiser Renato, which I'll talk more about. All right, here, this is where I get the augment that I already mentioned, and which will be in the title of this video, Future Sight. So what this does is it allows you to see who your next opponent will be, and it gives you a Zephyr that you can place. So this is something that does not do anything directly other than give you a Zephyr. The value of this trait is the player has to be able to position correctly. So this is really a test of how good your positioning can be throughout the game. I'm also going to find a Zillion here, so that's going to allow me to get Innovator in. And now what I need to do is find some kind of front line, because I do not have much of anything as far as frontline protection. I haven't found Singed yet, who is the typical early frontliner for Innovators. And I'm not exactly sure what units I'm going to play, but I don't think I can rely just on the Mechanical Scarab. Also, look what I get here. I get another sword for my item. So I was like, okay, I guess it's going to have to be some kind of AD-focused build that comes out of Innovators. All right, anyway, so going to see another Singed there. So I can play Singed, although he will not make any traits. I also have the option to play this Sejuani, and Sej is an extremely popular champion right now due to how popular she builds into both of the key team compositions that are popular at the moment. So I decided I would just put in the Singe because it does make the Mechanical Scarab a little bit stronger. And then now I need to start focusing on where I want to place this Zephyr. And I decided I wanted to put it on Zillion because I can just move Zillion around wherever I feel like in these fights. He's probably the best person who can hold this because, like, I want Singed on the front line. Ezreal's going to be doing my damage early with that sword. I want Echo to be jumping into the back lines, and Echo you generally want to position more in the middle of the board normally. But Zillion's not. He's really just in there for his traits for Innovator Clockwork. So he can kind of go wherever, and seems like a good person to hold the Zephyr that I get for free with my augment. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the Future Sight augment. So in set 6.5, one of the user interface additions has been the little sword graphic that tells you who you can potentially hit in the next round. If you have Future Sight, instead of seeing the little sword graphic next to like 3 or 4 or 5 people on the enemy team, you just get a gold indicator that tells you exactly who you're going to be up against. So, like, I already know I'm going to be up against Rice Picker. So what I want to do now is position that Zephyr so it hits the most important unit, which I expect is the Ashe in this team composition. So I will go ahead and do that and Zephyr out the Ashe, and this is going to be one of the common threads throughout this game is seeing who I'm going to be up against next, trying to position so that I can work around that. Now, if you are in a lobby where someone has Future Sight, you probably want to start repositioning your carries right at the last second for every single fight because you don't know if you're going to be right up against the Future Sight person or not. Unfortunately for this round, this board is all full of 2 stars, so it doesn't really matter. I do the positioning as best I can, but it doesn't matter. I'm still going to lose that fight pretty badly anyway because that board was just a lot stronger than mine. So positioning can certainly help. Positioning can often turn a loss into a win. but positioning is not enough to win every fight on its own. My board is entirely 1-stars, and the only traits I have in are Innovator and Scrap. So yeah, I actually have quite a few pairs here. Like I've got pairs of the Zillion and pairs of the Singe. I guess I only have 2 pairs, not that many, but I am preparing to go into 4 Scrap for my next level up. At least I'm relatively wealthy because I had a 2-item start instead of a 3-item start. So I'm a little bit richer than I would be otherwise. Anyway, I decided to get the Echo, but what I missed there was that this person was playing Binary Airdrop, so I should have been looking to Zephyr out the Ziggs instead. I don't think I realized that that person had Binary Airdrop. So that Ziggs is doing all the damage, and sadly that Ziggs is on like 20% health. And if I could have popped that Ziggs, I could have won this fight. So, I mean, I'm going to lose, and it's not a bad loss, but obviously I would have still preferred to win that round as opposed to losing it. But oh well. As I said, I'm going to do my best with positioning, but I will not get it exactly right in all of these fights. Anyway, now it's time for a carousel, and even though I lost 2 of the first 3 rounds, I'm still 3rd pick on the carousel. That indicates that those losses were relatively close losses, which is a good thing, I suppose. As far as what I'm looking for right now, I want to get some kind of item to... Basically, I have 2 swords, and I want to get some use out of having those swords. So I see that there is a glove on a 3 gold Malzahar, so I'll take that, make Infinity Edge, put the other sword on top of Ezreal, and then he'll continue rolling a scrap item off that each round. Having Scrap Trade in also does synergize fairly well with the fact that I got the free Zephyr from my augment, because Scrap gives you a larger shield based on how many items you're using. So this will be more items in play. And now I'm going to go ahead and put in some additional champs for 4 Scrap. So this will give me an even larger shield, and it would turn another item. You can get up to 3 components turned into finished items, but I don't have another component. If I did, I would probably try to put it on Echo, so that Echo would also roll another item. All right, so we've got another team coming up, and I'm going to look to Zephyr the Lucian. So again, this is a very micro-intensive playstyle. I am, in fact, going to get that Lucian, so I was quite happy with that. That is definitely the key unit that I want to take out, with that tier and the death cap, and Lucian being a 3-cost unit that's kind of a carry unit with twin shot in. So I've done as well as I can in terms of positioning here. So is that going to be enough to win this fight? Well, once again, it looks like it's probably not, but it's getting a little bit close. Come on, Ez, come on, Ez. You got this, and there we go. So that is a fight that I 100% win off of positioning. Definitely did not think I was going to win that. Also could have sold the Singe to get to 20 gold, but I was 1 off of Singed. I did want to have Singed in. So I'm going to take out the Ziggs, drop down to just 3 Scrap, because I think it's still better than... I think it's still better to play the 2-star Singed over the 1-star Ziggs. And it does make the Scarab, the Innovator Scarab, a little stronger too. So once again, I've got a position for this other comp. I'm trying to see if I can Zephyr out one of these units. I decided I'd Zephyr out the frontline unit. I think they have a 2-star unit of some kind there, and I decided to take that out. So I was hoping that I'd be able to win, but look what's happened in terms of positioning. The Talon on the enemy team is stabbing Ezreal, and I was like, oh man, I knew exactly where this team was going to be, and I still griefed my positioning, because the Talon just bleeds my Ezreal to death. And I think I win this fight without too much difficulty if the Talon is not right on the Ezreal. Basically, Ezreal's my only source of damage right now, so I need to keep him alive, but I do not manage to keep him alive. He bleeds out instantly, and that's that. So I could have rectified that just by swapping the position of Blitzcrank and Ezreal. That was pretty sloppy of me, because with my ability to see exactly who I'm hitting next, I could have seen that there was no Blitzcrank on that team. No way for Ezreal to be hooked in the corner, so he would have been safer in the corner. Oh well, that's that though. It is only a 1-star Ezreal, so it's a little bit unfortunate. Anyway, it's been kind of a mixed bag on stage 2. I had the win-loss, no particular streak in any direction. My health's not great, it's not terrible. Like I said, just kind of somewhere in the middle. So as far as what's been going on since the set came out, I wanted to talk a little bit about the other comps that have been popular. It turned out, as I said, that gameplay is not especially well balanced right now, and the 2 comps that have really been dominating have been Hextech Sivir and Renata Bruisers. This has actually changed significantly since a couple days ago now, as I'm recording this, when we did our Friday games, our Friday group games 3 days after the set came out. Came out on a Wednesday, and then we did our group games on a Friday. And at that point in time, the Renata Bruisers thing was like just starting to pop up. So I actually played that in one game, did a live commentary on it, put it up on YouTube. Well, in like the 3 days since then, Renata Bruisers has gone from being something that I hadn't really seen to like 4 people playing it in every single game because it is extremely strong. And that was my observation when playing it in that live commentary as well. I was like, I don't think I've even built this comp very well, and it still feels extremely powerful. So yeah, that has really been dominating the metagame. The other thing that's been dominating the metagame has been Hextech comps built around Sivir. When this set was on the PvE, the expectation that I thought was that people would be playing Sivir together with Irelia because they're both striker champs, both 4-cost strikers. I think I did a video where I said that it was like the Hextech striker duo. Well, that has not been how people have been playing Sivir. They have not generally not been playing Irelia at all. By the way, this is another fight where I think I positioned perfectly, but just not strong enough to take out that Hextech board. What people have been doing instead is they've just been playing 6 Hextech, and it's like just a vertical Hextech team comp and been having great success with it. Sivir's items are basically Quicksilver Sash, which you need because Renata is really strong. So you kind of need Quicksilver to stop Renata's poison from just killing Sivir's attack speed. So Quicksilver Sash, Rage Blade, and then oftentimes people will build either Giant Slayer or Static Shiv. So basically just stacking as much attack speed as they possibly can. And then relying on the fact that the Hextech trait adds all this magic damage to do the actual damage in the fights. Now here's going to be another fight where I try to position the Zephyr. I'm going to try to put it on that Corki because I think he's the main damage threat. I end up getting the Gnar instead, which I think is okay. And let's see how this particular fight plays out. It definitely is helpful getting up to 4 scrap. I leveled to 6 here, which is the standard timing to go to level 6. And the bigger shield from having 4 scrap in definitely seems like it helped there. All right, so we're going to have another augment. Let's see what I can pick here, and then I'll get back to my point about these Hextech comps. There's like 3 different people playing Hextech Sivir comps in this game right now. So we'll be seeing a bunch of them as the game goes on. All right, these are not really the augments I want. Golden Gifts is pretty bad. It gives you about 10 gold worth of stuff. It's okay for the first augment. It's pretty bad for other augments. Then I also had the option to get, what was it, Bodyguard Crest, which is really bad at the moment. Bodyguards are in horrible shape right now. Bodyguards are in really, really bad shape as a mechanic right now. Partly because they got nerfed. Braum actually ate a big nerf right before this set began. And in addition to that, typically in past sets, the early game damage has been heavily physical, so bodyguards having armor is helpful for that. Well, in this set, a lot of the early game damage is magical because Hextech units, while they have the shield on them, deal magic damage. And so that has made the bodyguard units almost useless. They just take a gazillion magic damage and all their armor just does nothing. In addition to that, you also have the problem where there is a tremendous amount of backline access in this. Like Sivir's boomerang blades bounce into the backlines, Renata's poison bounces into the blacklines, etc. Oh, and this fight is one of the saddest of the game because I knew who I was up against. I Zephyr out the Ziggs, who's got 3 items, but I stupidly allow Ezreal to get Blitzcrank hooked, which was easily avoidable. Easily avoidable. So this is a fight I should win with ease, but instead I'm going to end up losing it because Ezreal's all my damage and Ezreal gets hooked, which is really, really stupid. There was absolutely no reason to let him get hooked. And in fact, not only is it going to end any potential win streak I might have been able to add, it turns out this person, NoJK, is actually going to start their own win streak right here. So I think it pops up on the interface on like the next round, but I could have interrupted that right there. And instead, no, it's not going to happen. So that was pretty sloppy by me. Well. All right, well, we've got another carousel here, and I do have second pick for what that's worth. There's nothing I want that badly, but I decide that I will go ahead and take the glove for 2 reasons. Number one, this is just an Orianna, so I can just play this for Orianna if I want, or alternately, it can be a Last Whisper. As far as my second augment, I went ahead and took the Assassin Emblem because that does synergize with the Echo. And if I want, I can play a unit as an assassin later on. And in fact, at this point, I'm increasingly thinking the unit I want to play is actually Jinx. I can turn Jinx into an assassin, and then I've got like Infinity Edge Last Whisper. That feels like that would be pretty good to pair with that innate crit chance on being an assassin. So I thought that that would probably be pretty useful. If that doesn't work out, I could also look to play it on Irelia, who is also a scrap champion. And Assassin Aurelia is supposed to be pretty deadly as well. Put her in the back lines, and then she can dash around killing people with, again, Infinity Edge Last Whisper. So both of those felt pretty good. I thought I'd be able to hit at least one of the two of them, or at least that was my goal. Excuse me. So here's another fight where I'm going to use the future sight of who I'm up against to Zephyr out. In this case, a frontliner. I thought that taking out the Camille would probably be the best option. And that's going to work out relatively well. We take out the Camille, we get through the front line, and Ezreal, who does not get Blitzcrank hooked in this fight, is able to take care of that without any real problems. So that is feeling pretty good. Also, this person, Mechanical Lord, apparently took the augment that, took Tiny Titans, which gives you the big health bonus, which now ensures that they will be picking last on all the carousels, but probably helpful as far as being able to get a top 4 finish, because you do get all that extra health. So yeah, I'm just kind of chilling right now. I'm actually quite similar to what I've been in. Like stage 3 has gone similarly to stage 2. Not especially strong, not especially weak. I've been going loss win, and again, that's really not good as far as getting off to a win streak or a loss streak. It's just I've kind of been like in the middle this whole game, which is a weird place to be. And I'm trying to position for this other comp. I was trying to see if I could get like their Seraphine in the back lines. Let's see what I think I end up getting the Ez. Is that right? Yeah, that's not really the unit that I wanted there, unfortunately. So this is not great. And as it turns out, I'm actually being contested for these innovators pretty hard. There's actually 3 of us playing innovators in this lobby, which is kind of rare. Innovators are a playable comp right now, but not that strong. So it's kind of weird that I'm being contested by this many people for innovators. And it turns out there's not that many people playing the Renata Bruisers, which is weird because I did a couple other games on the same day as I recorded this. And in every one of those games, there was like 3 or 4 people playing Renata plus Bruisers in the lobby because it's just such a strong setup right now. But no, instead I've gone, instead I'm being contested on this build that's not especially popular. It's like somewhat popular right now. And this was once again kind of like a middling stage 3. Loss, win, loss, win, loss. Great. No win streak whatsoever. No way to make additional money. So I'm pretty happy with the way I built this comp so far. Now I just need to look to try to find one of these 4-cost or 5-cost scrap units and go from there. I'm also a little disappointed I get a scrap, what is it? I get a spatula here, which is not what I want. On the plus side, I do get a Seraphine, which will take me up to 5 innovators, and that is a big spike. So I was planning on playing the Orianna right here, but I can't play I can't play Orianna for Clockwork. If I play Ori, it means that I am not going to be able to play 4 scrap, or it means I'm not going to be able to play 5 innovator. And I thought it was worthwhile to keep playing both of them. The spatula, though, is sad because the spatula is not something I can really use with this team comp. There's no items I can particularly make out of it. I mean, what exactly am I going to make? Make like another assassin? Try to go up to like 4 assassins? I mean, I guess that's possible, but not really a lot I can do with this particular spatula here. So a little disappointed. It's not like there's an innovator spatula item or anything like this. For this round, I was trying to figure out where to put the Zephyr, and I messed up again. It needed to be on the Gnar. That was who needed to go on because Gnar has all the items. Gnar was also on the Spotlight, so it was a really easy Zephyr to place. All I had to do was place it on the Spotlight tile, so that would have been super easy, but for whatever reason, I don't see it, and I just Zephyr out like a random backline unit because I was trying to make up my mind on what unit to put them on. And here you can see I can make, what is it, a mutant emblem, or I can make a debonair emblem, but either one's going to be useful. So I was just like, you know what? I think the best thing I can do is honestly just to try and to find another spatula. I was like, maybe I can get the Force of Nature / Tactician's Crown. I think that's honestly better than trying to make something out of this. All right, so here I'm going to try to Zephyr out the Corki, and I get the Corki this time. So pretty happy with that. And this person who's playing Yordles, looks like they're in fairly good shape right now as far as health goes. But I was able to get the Corki. Now, is that enough to win the round is the question. And that I'm a little bit less certain of because I am pretty reliant on Ezreal to deal damage. And yeah, his damage is all physical. So remember how I said bodyguards are not very good in the current meta? Well, they aren't, but this is one place where they are good. A Bramble Vest on a Vex against Ezreal that does all physical damage. Yeah, so he does not manage to get through there. And this is where I was like, oh, you know what? I probably should have made Last Whisper a while ago because that would have been very helpful in that fight. Last Whisper would have let me shred through the armor on that Vex. I don't know if I win that fight, but it probably would have been closer. So once again, just kind of like not especially strong, not especially weak. These fights are not going amazingly well, but I'm not doing terrible. I'm just trying to get to level 8 and seeing if I can piece my comp together from there. So I'm going to try to Zephyr the Talon on this team, which might seem like an odd choice, but they're playing Debonair, and this is going to Zephyr out the VIP version of Talon, who has a true damage bleed. So we're able to get that unit, and I also managed to get off a pretty good hook with Blitzcrank, but the problem is I am still kind of low on damage. Now, do I have enough left to finish off this team? Let's see. There's not a lot of units left on either side. It's just Ezreal and Seraphine for me. I'm like, oh, come on. And I was like, oh, wait, that's not going to be enough. Seraphine's not going to be enough to win that. So I lose again. I'm actually on a 4-match losing streak, but most of these losses have been pretty close. So I don't feel too bad about all these. All right, this does mean that I get up to second pick. So I have a chance to get something pretty good. And I see that there's a Victor with a belt. So I wanted to take that. That is then gone. So I was like, oh, okay. Would have liked to have taken that out of the pool. But that's not an option. So I will go ahead and take this tier because that can be a chalice, which is always useful to have on someone like Seraphine. She holds the item very well. And then she can give ability power to other people on the team. So I thought that was the best way to make use of that cloak that was on my bench. All right, now it's time to go to level 8 and start rolling. So I'm looking for, again, more units. And do I grab that Aurelia? I really should. So I think I end up grabbing that because that's an option. Certainly a much better 4-scrap user than the Ziggs that I had before. There's another Ori, and I'm going to keep rolling here. And oh, I find a Jinx. I was like, okay, I am going to look to play the Jinx. So I'm going to make her into an assassin. Although in retrospect, I actually think this was a mistake. I think Aurelia was the unit that should have become an assassin. And then I'm going to have this leftover Giant Slayer, which I put on Seraphine, and then I'll make the Chalice on her. But I do think that this was probably backwards. I think that I probably should have put Infinity Edge plus Last Whisper plus Giant Slayer on the Jinx. And then I should have put the Assassin Emblem on the Aurelia. So if I had to do it again, I would take that back and replace that. And then look to put additional items on the Aurelia as she jumps into the back lines. Probably would have put Giant Slayer and Assassin Emblem on the Aurelia. By the way, is this going to be a loss too? And yes, it is a loss. Oh man. So I'm actually on a 5-match losing streak. But again, these rounds are close. And out of these options, I am going to take the Scrap Soul. So this will get me to 6 scrap, which is going to be quite nice in terms of providing additional shielding. I do have to get Ezreal back into the team comp because I need to get back to 5 Innovators. I accidentally dropped down to 4 Innovators. But I've made another mistake here, and this is that I'm playing Blitzcrank over Aurelia. I need Aurelia to be my 4th scrap unit in here. There was no reason to sell that Aurelia. I should have just dropped Blitz and played Aurelia instead. Plus, there's even a Socialite Spotlight, which is very good on Aurelia. So yes, it's nice to make 2-star Blitz, and like this is not terrible by any means, but I do think that this was a mistake. And Aurelia, it should have been Assassin Aurelia on the Socialite Spotlight, and then I could have looked to further itemize her. I also probably should have just tossed this spatula on someone because it does provide a very minor scrap value, because you do get scrap value based on every item that you're playing. So I could have just put this on, like, I don't know, Singed or something. And then if I made a Tactician's Crown later, I always could have replaced it. So some mistakes here. I have not played this build that much, and I'm still trying to get more practice in how to build it. But overall, I think I put together a pretty decent team. Like, I think there are better optimizations that I could do here, but this is certainly not bad. And 6 scrap plus 5 innovator, Clockwork Assassin, not bad by any means. So just think that I could have done this better. Because one of the things I'm going to end up doing is you're going to see that I'm going to have Blitzcrank mostly standing on that Socialite Spotlight, which is pretty much wasted. There's no real, like, I'm not getting much value out of that. So would have been better to play Aurelia over Blitz. But Aurelia is still a new unit, and I'm still trying to learn everybody's traits. This is still like 5 days after the set started, so just keep that in mind. All right, I am starting to feel a little bit better. Getting the 6 scrap was a big plus for me. Getting Jinx in is a big plus as well. Now, if I can get the Jinx 2-star, I'll be feeling a lot better about this build. And there is always the opportunity to replace Singed with Jace as well. Or if I would be able to find an Innovator emblem, which admittedly is not likely at this point, I could look to go up to 7 innovators and get the mechanical dragon, which would be awesome. So that is something that I'm also interested in as well. One nice bit of RNG here is I do get a belt from this carousel, and oh, look at that. So the belt's going to be a Morello's, but now I've got 2 out of 3 Jinxes. Plus, I just want to toss this on someone who's scrap so that they'll roll an item. So I go ahead and put this on Echo just so he'll roll another scrap item. Like I said, if I'd had Aurelia in here, I could have had Aurelia rolling a scrap item, which probably would have been better. But like I'm trying to get each of my scrap champions, I'm trying to give them a component so that they'll roll another item, and then that will count for more value via the 6 scrap trait, which again gives everybody shields based on how many items they have, and that includes items that are rolled via the scrap trait. Now remember, we still have future sight, so we can still see who we're going to be up against every round. And that means I can do stuff like this, which allows me to Zephyr out that Sivir at the start of the fight. You are seeing a very common Sivir build here. Like I said, Rage Blade plus Static Shift plus Giant Slayer. People also tend to like to put Quicksilver Sash on her as well. But I was able to Zephyr out the Sivir, and these Sivir comps tend to be very focused on Sivir for damage. So take her out of the comp, and it just kind of explodes pretty quickly. So that did not look like an especially strong, excuse me, that was not an especially strong fight. I actually win that one pretty easily. And the fact that there were like 4 different people playing Hextech Sivir in this lobby meant that they were all fighting one another for units. And that means that there's a lot of people who have like Sivir 1-star, Alistar 1-star, etc. So it looks like I'm going to be up against the Yordle comp next time. And I just want to make sure I get the Zephyr on the Corki because Corki is all the damage in that comp. Yeah, like I said, Hextech Sivir are really, really strong at the moment. And in addition to being strong, it's also extremely easy to play. It's like literally vertical Hextech. You just play all the Hextech units except Nocturne with Sivir as your carry, and then you put in Vi as like your 8th unit, because Alistar takes up 2 slots. Very, very, very easy comp to play, and very strong at the moment because Hextech 6 just is ridiculously strong, and Hextech 2 and 4 are strong early game. So yeah, very, very easy comp to play. Now this fight goes way better than the last time I hit the Yordles, because they still have not managed to 3-star their Yordles yet. And I have just gotten a lot stronger, and can get stronger still if I'm able to get up to 2-star Jinx. Now there is one other mistake I've made with this comp, and have you spotted what that mistake is? This is like my little test for people that are trying to learn teamfight tactics. Yeah, think about Jinx as her traits. What are her traits? Well, she has Rival, which means she can't be played with Vi. Different from set 6, where you had to play them together. She also, of course, has Scrap, and that's why I'm using 6 Scrap. But oh yeah, she's got another trait, right? And that other trait is Twin Shot. I don't have a Twin Shot unit in, and that's really, really bad, because that is cutting an immense amount of damage out of Jinx. The way that the math works, this is something that Mismatched Socks has, I think, posted about or recorded a video on, something like that. Someone who is like a longtime challenger player, been to Worlds for North America, etc. But basically the way the math works out is Twin Shot 2 enormously increases the damage on Twin Shot units. It almost doubles their damage because it's like 40% chance that they'll strike twice or something like that. But just the way the math works out is it almost doubles their damage. And then it's diminishing returns after that. But you really want Twin Shot 2 if you're playing through a Twin Shot unit. And for whatever reason, I just totally forgot about that in this game. Anyway, there is an Innovator unit on the carousel, and I wanted that so badly, but remember, there's like 3 of us playing Innovators in this lobby, so of course someone else takes the Innovator emblem. And I was like, oh man. So I end up just taking a Jace instead for the purpose of having a Jace. And frankly, it also denies Chemtech to anyone who's playing Renata, because they're going to be playing through Chemtech there. So this is not bad, but if I had gotten the Innovator emblem, I could have, grabbed that, and then, and then at level 9, I could have put Singe back in, and then I would have had 7 Innovators, and I would have gotten the Dragon. So that, that certainly would have been nice. I could have had 6 scraps, 7 Innovators, but not something that's going to be able to happen in this game. I can't imagine I'm going to find another one of them. So I'm continuing to just position. Most of these other players are not responding to my Zephyrs. This person here, Mechanical Lord, finally did. Like, I was able to Zephyr out Sivirs and Corkis, the carries on these other teams over and over again. But finally someone wised up to the fact that I had this and repositioned their Sivir at the last second. But we still seem to be winning pretty easily in these fights. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. This is going to be a 5-match winning streak. And I'm in great shape to just, make my way completely through this lobby and hopefully take a first place finish. Or that's my hope anyway. I'm going to look to go level 9 after the carousel, or excuse me, after the minion round, and I'll figure out what my last unit in. It should be a twin shot unit, but spoiler alert, I just forget the entire game that Jinx is twin shot and do not manage to do that. So I've been talking a lot about Sivir because of how popular the Sivir comps are, and the other comp is Renata comps, Renata plus Bruiser, and I can see that that's what I'm going to be up against. And for whatever reason, this is a lobby where no one else is playing Renata with Bruiser units. So I'm going to look to Zephyr out the Renata, and I am in fact going to do that. So you're like, all right, come on. It's 1-star Victor, it's 1-star Renata. Come on, obviously I win against this comp, right? Right? I mean, their carries are 1-star, and I Zephyred out the carry at the start of the fight. Well, yeah, remember how I said that this set was not particularly well balanced right now? And that Renata comps are really overpowered? Yep. I'm going to lose that one, and it's not particularly close. Like, that was not a very close fight. I was not close to winning that fight. And that's someone who had 1-star Victor and 1-star Renata and 1-star Tom Ketch. So like I obviously my board can be better. I've highlighted some of the mistakes, not having twin shot in for Jinx, playing the Blitz over playing the Aurelia. And obviously there are other things I could have done better. But like that comp, all of the carries were 1-star, and I got my Zephyr off perfectly, and I still lost, and it wasn't close. Like Victor 1-star plus Renata 1-star behind those bruisers just really shredded my team to pieces. So yeah, not great. Now, part of that is Victor. Victor is a counter to my build. And by the way, I'm going to toss in Vi here. And look what I forget. I forget that I have rival trait. So, whoops, can't actually play Vi in this comp. So that's probably something I should have considered. There's another Jace. So definitely grab that. But and there's 2-star Ori. There's also a Sivir. But again, I remember I just forgot that I should have been playing Sivir over Blitz throughout this whole game. So I do realize that I have to take out the... I do belatedly realize I have to take out the Vi because I can't play Vi and Jinx at the same time. And so I'm going to play Silco instead. And look what I've got. I've got someone who has 7 Innovators. They've actually found an Innovator emblem, and they've got the Mechanical Dragon in there. But I get off a perfect Zephyr. I'm going to Zephyr out that Seraphine, who's their main carry unit. And even though they've got Jace and they've got Seraphine, this fight's not going to be very close. I once again win this very easily. And that's because Silco is probably the most overpowered unit of all in this set. Yeah, don't look now. Sivir is extremely overpowered and definitely needs to be nerfed. If you're unfamiliar with Silco, this is the unit that was from the Arcane TV show, or Netflix show, more precisely. So not a current champion in League of Legends. Silco does 2 things. He is a scholar, and his innate trait Mastermind adds additional mana to the unit standing in front of him. So like right now, I know I'm going to be up against this person, no JK. So I'm trying to position, but look, they have counter positioned me. They swap to the other side and also put the Shroud down on my units. But yeah, Silco normally adds 40 mana to the 2 units standing right in front of him. And when he uses his ability, he ults units on your team. He will restore them back to full health for any damage that they've taken, makes them immune to crowd control, and they also get a massive attack speed bonus, but they then die after 8 seconds. He is hilariously overtuned at the moment, is way too strong, and you can see what happens in a fight like that where the other person is also playing Silco. And really, Silco is the other thing that makes these Renata, Bruiser, Chemtech boards go, is he allows the other team to play a unit like Victor, and then Victor, who is normally gated by having high mana cost, suddenly gets to ult almost immediately. And remember how he restores units to full health when he ults them? Well, guess what? Having bruisers that are really high health are extremely good at that. The good news is I am not up against this comp 2 rounds in a row. I'm going to be up against the Hextech Sivir person. And even though I don't get the Zephyr off perfectly, Silco is buffing up my team very nicely. Look how quickly you just get these instant casts. Like, Seraphine just casts instantly. And she's not my main damage source by any means, but it's certainly not bad. And now that I have 2-star Jinx, she goes off almost instantly. So, like, I am dumpstering this team. It's not even close. It's actually a ghost round, but it doesn't matter because the Renata Victor player wins pretty easily. Oh, and now look at this. Remember how I had that spatula on my bench the whole game? I have had that dead spatula. I was like, oh, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get the Force of Nature. Well, guess what? that player, No JK, also had a spatula on their team because they've been playing Tom Kench, and Tom Kench has been producing items. So, like, yeah, now they get to play the extra unit. I was like, well, that probably kills any chance I had of winning this game. Because if I couldn't beat them before, I don't think I can beat them now with them having the extra unit. So, that's a little bit disappointing. As I said, I've definitely made some mistakes with my team, not having twin shot in for Jinx, playing the Blitz when I shouldn't be playing the Blitz. Um, but I just don't think I can really beat this comp because this comp is extremely overpowered right now. They actually have itemized Silco, which is the wrong thing to do. You don't really want to itemize Silco, but 2-star Silco, extremely strong. He grants 175% attack speed to the units he buffs. And with this many bruisers in there, it's not possible to kill them fast enough. They just have too much health. And like Victor is guaranteed to get his cast off. And like, look at this. This is not even remotely close. I get absolutely annihilated against this board. They have 1-star Victor and 1-star Renata. 1-star versions of the units. And they win that easily. So this is why I have not been playing Teamfight Tactics that much, because once people figured out this release version, it's just not very well balanced, and there's almost nothing you can do if someone puts together that Renata comp correctly. It is stupidly overpowered at the moment, so I'm mostly just like killing time until this gets fixed, and it's supposed to happen later this week. So until then, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this chance to check out Future Sight. See you guys soon.